Joe and Zach here for another Monarch Minute, where they always go over a minute. This week's discussion and reflection, 5 tips to make sure you're getting the most out of your website during this holiday season.
Coming into the holiday season especially, people are online shopping more than ever, and so it's important that your business stands out in a lot of different ways to best benefit the person looking for what they want to buy. Making sure that you are, 1, seen, but then 2, they have a good experience is crucial, especially during this time of year.
On the flip side, when you're trying to look for a gift for that special someone, you're having to go through websites to try and find which site best has the product for you. And there's a lot of different reasons why you end up on one site compared to another. Number 1, first off, before we get into any of this, coming into this particular time, there's a current update coming. Starting January 1st, Google Chrome is going to start blocking all sites that are non-secure. So if you ever are on a website and you search, and up in the bar in Google Chrome you see a little lock, or it'll say not secure or question mark. If you don't have that lock in there, that means that your site is not secure, and Google Chrome will start blocking those coming January. So before we give any of these tips, you need to make sure your site is even being seen in the first place. So make sure you get your, what would be a CDN or an SSL or whatever you need to make sure your site's secure so that your site doesn't go down.
Number 2, we're going to talk about pictures or videos on your site. A lot goes into actually placing a picture on your site or a video on your site, and oftentimes people don't see the back end of what happens. So before you put a picture or video on your site, it's important that you have proper titles, proper descriptions, and that those pictures or videos are compressed as much as possible. Basically what this does is it allows for search engines to see what the picture is, and not only that, but the compression allows for your site to load faster across all search engines. You can think of Google and Bing as a blind person, so it's important that you describe to them what you're showcasing on your website.
So when you save that picture on your desktop and it's titled IMG-4035_95, that's a title in which you could be explaining to Google what that image is. So like Zach said, pay attention to your titles and descriptions so that you're giving the right words in the right places. Number 3, titles on your website. So, and I'm not just talking about what you guys would think of as just when you're on your website and you see a title below above some text. There's an actual qualification you can make certain text on a website from the back end. So wherever your text is, Google reads it in a level of priority. So when you have a title on your site that you're talking about Christmas stockings, and let's say your title is something other than that, Google is now going to discredit a lot of the body text below that. So make sure when you're actually going through your website, each page has its own title, every category has its own title, but the title is relevant. Also, titles can be the actual titles in your links. So when somebody is searching and they see a list of links on Google, you get to decide what each of those links say and the descriptions below them as well. That's another huge part of making sure your website is getting seen by the right people, is making sure that those titles are relevant and are filled with words that are high search volume and also, relevant to what you actually want to be searching.
Number 4 is linking. We stress either anchor links, internal or external links. Basically what that means is that the user is going to your site and they're able to navigate the page in which they're on much easier through those internal or external links. Not only that, but there's a thing called domain authority, which essentially says, hey, your site is an authoritative website, so we're gonna put more precedence on that, which all comes into search ranking. So internal and external linking especially is crucial, not only to the user experience on your website, but also to how you are being seen in the eyes of Google and Bing and Yahoo and other search engines. So for instance, if you are writing a blog and you are talking about Christmas stockings, maybe what you do is you highlight Christmas stockings and provide the user with a link that can then direct them to another website where they can read about the materials that goes into those Christmas stockings.
Number 5, all this being said, none of it actually really matters unless you can track if it's working. So that's why anybody with a website, you need to make sure you have analytics set up in some regard so you actually know what your linkability is like, you actually know what your traffic's like. Ultimately, the biggest indicator of user experience could be bounce rate. If you do all of this and you actually find out that 90% of the people get on your page and immediately bounce off, that's an indicator that maybe you need to work on some more of the stuff that we just talked about. So what are some ways that you can actually use analytics on your website? The list is ultimately endless, but a good basic starting one is Google Analytics. Fairly simple to set up, put some code on your website. Most websites actually have an option for you just to insert what Google needs. And that's a great way then for you to pretty much track everything you want.
We don't want to ever be salesy on this, but we do have a dashboard that can track everything online from an analytical perspective.
So choose the right choice and choose Monarch. No, but in all honesty, any questions people out there doing it on a website, feel free to ask. Work on this stuff a lot, and we advise if you can do it yourself, go for it, but we know how to, so give us your questions. So in summary, number 1, big update coming soon. We'll block your site unless it's not secure on Google Chrome. Take care of it. Number 2, images on your site, videos on your site. Make sure not only are they good content, but you're actually describing them correctly so Google can use that for ranking. Number 3, titles. All text on your website, there's a precedence that Google has and a priority list for what gets higher priority than others. Make sure your titles are explaining what you have effectively. Number 5, make sure that you are tracking what is happening on your website so you know it's working, you know it's not, and you can understand what changes are happening on your site.
So hopefully you guys are able to use some of these tips that we have provided you with. Definitely very crucial moving forward, and as we see these updates progress, stuff is just going to become more and more complicated. So thank you so much for listening, and sorry it went over a minute. Or how do you normally end it? I don't know.
Just thanks.
Thanks.